Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico, Hischier, Luke Hughes, Dougie Hamilton, Timo Meier, and Jacob Markstrom. At a face value, these names are suggestive of a contender potential NHL team, but something just isn't right with the New Jersey Devils. As of January 2026, the Devils are just as close to making the playoffs as they are to sitting last place in the Eastern Conference, albeit in a logjam of competitive teams. If you went back 5 years and asked yourself where this team would be in 2026, you'd probably be surprised to hear that. Dougie Hamilton is having a brutal season with 9 points in 39 games. Ondrej Palat continues to struggle into his 30s with 8 points in 43 games. Jacob Markstrom has an .878 save percentage and .348 goals against average. Jack Hughes can't stay healthy. Meanwhile, Jesper Bratt, Luke Hughes, and Timo Meier are notably underperforming. There are a lot of things going wrong with this team right now, some of which are surely a matter of simple outlier slump seasons for a few players. But I do think the Devils' problems are potentially bigger than just this single season, and the origin of these issues comes from poor management practices, signing and trading for several aging players who were bound to regress in the latter stages of their careers. In 2022, Tom Fitzgerald and the Devils signed 31-year-old Ondrej Palat to a 5-year, $30 million contract. Through 4 years with the Devils thus far, Palat has not come anywhere close to replicating his production in Tampa Bay, and this was one of those contracts that looked bad the second they signed it. They knew the risk associated in making this deal, and for a young developing team in the midst of a weak free agent crop that season, they forced their own hand. Jumping back to the 2021 offseason, when the Devils signed free agent defenseman Dougie Hamilton to a 7-year, $63 million deal. Dougie was, and maybe still is, a great offensive defenseman. He has had a few fantastic years in New Jersey, but at 32 years old, his decline in production is definitely alarming. $9 million is a lot of money for a one-dimensional offensive defenseman who needs a babysitter, and now they have 2 of them. In the midst of putting this video together, the Devils have officially activated Jonathan Kovacevic from injury reserve and announced that Dougie will be a healthy scratch for the team's next game. In response, Dougie's agent JP Barry has revealed that the Devils have supposedly been shopping Hamilton dating back to the 2025 NHL draft. Hamilton's camp has also made it clear that they are even willing to consider trades outside of his 10-team trade list, though they supposedly vetoed a trade to San Jose just last summer. This is a messy and evolving situation, but with his performance this year and cap hit, it's hard to believe that the Devils will be on the winning side of any trade that gets him out of New Jersey. Did the Devils need a top-line power play quarterback defenseman when they signed him? Absolutely, but there were cheaper options with high upsides and more temporary term available at that time. Another point of criticism comes in the acquisition and extension of Timo Meier. In February of 2023, the Devils traded for Meier in a 13-piece trade where the Devils notably sacrificed Fabian Zetterlund, defensive prospect Hischier Mukhamadullin, along with a first-round pick. Later, the Devils would sign Meier to an 8-year, $70.4 million contract. As of 2026, Meier's production in New Jersey has been underwhelming, especially considering his cap hit. When they acquired Meier, he was getting big opportunities on a weak San Jose team. In his last 2 years with the Sharks, he was averaging close to 20 minutes of ice time per game, which has understandably not been replicated in New Jersey. His numbers in those 2 seasons were reflective of his opportunity, and I think the Devils jumped the gun and maybe overpaid in acquiring and committing to his services. Talking Jacob Markstrom, the Devils initially acquired his services in exchange for a first-round pick in 2025, along with young defender Kevin Ball. The 34-year-old goaltender previously demonstrated inconsistent play in Calgary, and the Devils proceeded by signing him to a 2-year, $12 million contract expiring at the end of the 2028 season. Markstrom is fresh from the worst goaltending performance of the modern era, courtesy of a 9-0 thumping at the hands of the New York Islanders. This performance certainly tanked his numbers. Markstrom is a gamer, and by all means may still have a few good years left in the tank, but this is another high-risk signing filled with negative potential. In that same vein, signing the likes of Brendan Dillon and Brett Pesce into their late 30s are two other deals that certainly come with risk. Summarizing these moves, I think the Devils are guilty of proactively attempting to build around a developing core. While this sometimes works out, the organization's attempt at this revolved around several risky signings and acquisitions. Talking about their commitments to Markstrom, Meier, Palat, and Hamilton, I think the Devils forced their own hand on a lot of these deals. The Hamilton and Palat commitments were questionable pretty much the second they were signed, and when the Devils had an outlier season in 22-23, winning a single playoff round, they took it as confirmation that their time was now. The subsequent trades and contracts for Markstrom and Meier demonstrated that belief, and now that the team is underperforming, they are crippled by several unattractive deals, preventing them from addressing current issues. A key factor playing into this situation is the reality that the Devils have 15 players on their roster with modified or complete no-trade clauses. This includes the likes of Jake Allen, Connor Brown, Brendan Dillon, Ondrej Palat, Brett Pesce, and of course, Dougie Hamilton. Listen, this team has a remarkably gifted group of core players. With the right supporting cast, I 100% believe that they can contend for a Stanley Cup. But changes need to be made in New Jersey, and is Fitzgerald the right person to execute those changes? I don't know if I'm convinced. For Happening Hockey, I'm Tate Laycraft.